Hey guys. Don't talk about me. I told you I was gonna have on the same outfit. Listen, I ain't finna be changing clothes. I'm doing all these videos. Okay, so um all right guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. It is Tuesday. And we are doing the same thing that we did yesterday. I told you guys that each day we're going to be focusing on context clues first, and then we're going to move into our fourth grade review. So you guys know that it's not going to look the same with like the PDN, it's going to be different, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with our context clues, okay? So just like yesterday, we know that context clues are words or clues in a text that help us to determine the meaning of unknown words, right? Because, let's not get it twisted. We all come into words that we don't know, right? But you use the clues around the word to help you determine what it means, right? And so when we use these clues, we are making inferences about what the word means, okay? So let's go ahead and put this to use. Let's use these context clues. So the first word, the first sentence, let me get my handy dandy marker. I tried to be nonchalant as I sauntered over and reached into a box. Okay, so what is the meaning of the word nonchalant? So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the clues, right? So it says, I tried to be nonchalant as I sauntered. We know that saunter means to like skip, right? Over and reached into a box. Okay, and so in my mind, we have to make inferences. When you're reaching into a box, you're grabbing something, right? You may be excited, and so the fact that the person is sauntering, they're excited, right? But it says that I try to be nonchalant. So it's like, you're excited, but you're trying to be really cool about it, right? You're not trying to show that you're excited. So what is the meaning of the word nonchalant? Sloppy and fast, clumsy and foolish, casual and cool, or worried or anxious, right? And so we know that nothing in the text talks about being sloppy and fast. I can also eliminate B, foolish and clumsy. And I can eliminate D as well. So we know that nonchalant means like the author is trying to be cool, and not show the excitement on his or her face as he is walking over to the box. Okay, and so the clues that we use here, of course, sauntered, and then reached into a box. Okay, good. Let's go to the next one. It says, what is a synonym for the word phony? So I know a lot of us know what the word phony means, but let's go ahead and read the text to figure out what clues we can use. In the passage it says, well, dearie, you have two choices. Keep lying until she tells everybody what a big phony you are, or find a girl 2 years younger and let her do the lying. Okay, so basically, what are the clues here to help us know what phony means, right? It says keep lying until she tells everybody what a big phony you are. So I can use the word lying, right? That is the huge clue here on what phony may be, right? When you're lying about something, that means that you're telling something that's not true, right? It's not the true you. And so when I look at, it says, what is a synonym for the word phony? Synonym is the same as meaning, right? What is a word that means the same thing as phony? So if you're lying, it means genuine. We know that you're not honest, right? Failure has nothing to do with lying, right? And then genuine also means true or honest, right? So lying is the same as being fake. So if you're phony, it just means that you're fake, right? You're not being the true you. And so the context clue here is just one word, which is lying. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. And our last one it says, what is the meaning of the word sarcasm? They were guessing all the obviously funny kids. The guys who can break up the teachers, the girls whose sarcasm can drop an enemy at 50 feet. So this one, guys, is a little bit more difficult to try to figure out the clue because it's not really given like an obvious clue, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and do this one for you. So the clue here would be can drop an enemy at 50 feet. So if you're dropping an enemy at 50 feet, obviously you're not touching them, right? So it must be something that you're saying with your words, okay? So that means that somebody who is sarcastic, meaning that they're saying something with their words that are hurting someone's feelings or that are like making somebody feel bad. Okay, so it says, what is the meaning of the word sarcasm? Honesty, silliness, respect, or to mock. So the one that makes the most sense, of course, is to mock. If you're being sarcastic, you're mocking somebody, right? You're like trying to be funny on purpose. But it's like you're trying to be funny, but also try to like hurt somebody's feelings almost. And so the clue here, of course, is can drop an enemy at 50 feet. Okay? Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and move on to our model, right? So here, this is something that we have not talked about yet, but I wanted to introduce it to us just for fun. So we're going to be talking about flashback for the model. Flashback is just like what it says. It's when when you think about something that happened in the past. So if I say, I think about when I was 5 years old and I used to walk down the street to go catch the ice cream truck, and I would have my money in my pocket and I would stand in line. I would get my favorite ice cream and then I would run back home, right? That's a flashback because I'm remembering in my mind something that happened a long time ago, right? So when we talk about flashback in the text, it's really just about when the characters or the narrators are thinking back to something that happened in the past, okay? So when we look at these questions, question 1 says, what line did the flashback start? And so it says, underline the sentence and write an S next to it. And then what line did the flashback end? Underline the sentence and write an E next to it. So we have to write an S next to when the flashback begins and an E next to when the flashback ends, okay? Let's go ahead and start reading. First of all, is a clue because obviously the character is the narrator, was in my apartment packing up the last of the boxes for the big move. So apartment, of course, is the setting, right? I'm not going to write S because we have to write S for where the flashback starts. Then almost everything was packed. Then I noticed a picture on the refrigerator. The picture was of me on the day I moved into this apartment. I was smiling and excited to be in my home. The day I moved into this apartment was so exciting and scary. One afternoon, I had left my home. So here, guys, it seems like the narrator is thinking back to when she first moved into the apartment. And so I'm going to put S here, and I'm going to underline the sentence because this is where the flashback begins. She's thinking back to when she moved into her apartment. One afternoon, I had left my home and moved across the country to start a new adventure. I remember wondering if I would make friends, find a job, and be happy here. That was 5 years ago. I did make friends, find a job, and I was very happy here. So I think the flashback ends here when it says that was 5 years ago. Okay, and so we're going to put an E because then the author goes back to saying how, it did happen, and then she says, I went back to taping up the boxes, okay? So here is where the flashback is. She begins to think about when she first moved into the apartment, okay? Good. Then question 3 says, what important information does the flashback give me? A, it tells how the narrator made friends. B, it shows how the narrator feels about moving. C, it tells why the narrator moved into the apartment. Or D, it shows the narrator struggled with relocating. So when I go back to the flashback, I need to read how the narrator is feeling here to see what the flashback is telling me. It says, the day I moved into this apartment was so exciting and scary. One afternoon, I had left my home and moved across the country to start a new adventure. I remember wondering if I would make friends. So the author is nervous, scared, right? They're moving to a place where they don't have any family, don't have any friends, right? And so to me, it seems like it's giving me information on how the narrator must have struggled with moving all the way across the country. And so D would be the best answer here, right? Because she didn't know whether she was going to make friends, be happy, or find a job. 4. Why does the author include the flashback at this point in the story? A, to inform the reader that the narrator had a good job. B, to explain that the narrator liked where she lived. C, to tell the reader that she has lived in the house too long. Or D, to explain why she is moving. So I think the flashback here is pretty much talking about why she liked where she lived. She had friends, she had a job, she was very happy. Okay. All right, let's move on. So now we're at our guided practice, guys. This is a time where you can pause the video and you can do it yourself. And then you can come back and check it to see if you were right, or you can just follow along with me. Now here is where, just like yesterday, every question is going to be a different skill. So we may talk about summary, we may talk about text structure, we may talk about opinions. Every single question is going to be different. Okay? All right. It says, what is the best summary for this passage? Okay? And so when I think about summary has to include, of course, the topic, the main idea, and the qualities. So I'm going to go ahead and put that topic, main idea, or instead of qualities, what is most important in this text. Okay? Because remember, we talked about how a summary may not always include the qualities. It's going to include the topic, the main idea, and what is most important in the text. Charlotte, okay, so we know that Charlotte is the character. She must be the topic as well. Charlotte's pretty ruffled dress was becoming torn and ragged. She needed a pair of pants to so she could climb around on the ship without getting caught in the ropes on the deck. She needed to so this is why she needed a pair of pants, right? So her dress is torn, but she needed to climb around on the ship. She needed to get around more quickly, okay? That seems important. This is why we're talking about how her dress is ripped. Because she could not keep up with the rest of the crew. She had to find something quick. What is the best summary for this passage? So the summary is basically like, if you were to say this to someone, they should know what this entire passage is about. A, Charlotte's clothes would not allow her to work properly on the ship and she needed new ones. B, the captain was angry because she tried to help the crew. First of all, the captain is not even mentioned. We can eliminate that. C, Charlotte's clothes did not match the clothes of the rest of the crew. It didn't talk about the clothes of the crew. It just says that she needed to keep up with them. And then D, crew members were getting angry with Charlotte. So I know that A must be the correct summary because the rest of those don't really make sense to what the text was about. So A is the best summary because it mentioned how her clothes were ruined and how she needed better ones to function on the ship. Let's move on to number 2. Okay, it says, and the video may cut off, guys, but it's okay. We can just pick up with video 2. It says, which of the following does not express how the author feels about this topic.